Here today, we got now the founder and president of Project Veritas, my old friend James O'Keefe. James and I have known each other for a long time. A decade, sir. A decade.
A decade.
A decade. This is my 10th CPAC, by the way.
I think it's like my 11th.
It's like your 10th or 11th, too. Yeah, I've seen James at CPAC every year that I've been here. So, James, you guys just dropped another bomb on ABC News this week.
It was kind of reminiscent of our NPR story we did in 2011. It was reminiscent of that because they suspended this guy, David Wright, at ABC News for talking about his bosses not caring about the news.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable. And then also kind of admitted that he's a socialist, but at the same time kind of criticized his bosses for not covering the good stuff about
I don't think
Trump.
the media is focusing on the fact this is the guy on hidden camera saying, I'm not just a democratic socialist, I'm a socialist veteran news correspondent. I think it's more him talking about Disney putting pressure on him, and it's just like that NPR story that you covered. You broke that story at the Daily Caller in 2011, and they fired the CEO of NPR.
Yep.
And now the media is trying to make it seem bad that they fired him, suspended him because of his politics. I said it's not because he said he's a socialist. It's because he made them look bad by talking about how.
I think it's great when people are open and honest.
I agree.
In the media about their politics,
I
right?
agree.
Like, I'm open and honest. I'm a conservative. I support President Trump. I intend to vote for him in 2020. I don't like Barack Obama and the left. I'm not a socialist. But that being said, for those people on the left in the establishment media, if they're open and honest, I think that's better than lying to people and claiming to be objective.
Yeah, and these people work for ABC News, which I don't know, 8 million people watch it in the morning, so they have like 100 times the audience that's listening to the show. So I mean, it's very
I don't know
important.
about that anymore, dude.
Not anymore.
Things are changing. We're beating the Washington Post. We have been for several months.
I support that. The issue is you're saying I think the Fourth Estate. We need to know what they believe because they have so much power. Yeah.
No, I agree 100%. So, okay, we've obviously known each other for many years. The NPR one was a big one. There were several other ones that you've led the way on. James, can you kind of walk through the creative process for us here? How do you go about deciding? All right, we're going after this thing or we're going after that thing. Walk us through that.
It's not so much we say we want to get X. It's that the story finds us. You're an investigative reporter. You have sources. They kind of come to us. So like we don't choose ABC. It's just that the insider came to us, and this is what the ABC insider told us. We can't go to the Washington Post. We can't go to the New York Times. They'll sell us out and hunt us down like a trophy scalp. So who's going to tell our story? Well, there's nobody anymore because it's the media is the problem. So the insider comes to us. I didn't choose ABC News. They chose me. And now I have an obligation to protect that person's identity. And it's kind of like this manifest destiny of insiders come to us and we have their backs no matter what. And they lament the fact that they can't go to the press for their stories. So Project Veritas has a new role since I met you. It's changed. It's not just undercover journalism. It's literally giving cameras to people who are already on the inside of these institutions.
So, and you're making whistleblowers.
Whistleblowers is I think that's what they are. We call them insiders.
Insiders.
And they're very brave. And some of them lose their jobs. Some of them don't lose their jobs, stay on the inside. And they all have one thing in common.
Your phrase is be brave?
Be brave. That does our slogan is be brave, do something. So we fashion ourselves as the answer to the question, what can I do? And this is when people say it all the time, what can I do? What can I do? Probably people listening to this show. What can I do? Well, if you work for the State Department and you are witness to your colleagues, resisting, this is something that you can do. It's not for everyone, but a few brave souls are out there, and it's Veritas Tips at protonmail.com.
And so are you finding that as more people step forward and volunteer, that it's kind of a snowball effect? So you break another big story, and then you get 10 more.
Yeah, traditionally it's called whipsawing in investigative reporting, where one comes out and that forces another. Like the ABC story, now there's multiple insiders within ABC News. And what's remarkable, Matt, is that we broke the story on Wednesday morning. ABC, I talked to the people at ABC. They gave me a comment. Usually they don't even want to.
They try to ignore us.
It's like the Leninists editing myself out of existence. No, they actually gave me a serious comment. But it wasn't until Paul Farr at the Washington Post got the same comment that the media ran with it. So it's very significant. I think they're starting to take what we do seriously. They continue to attack us viciously, personally, ad hominem attacks. we just keep going, Matt. We just keep breaking stories.
So I look back on the last 10 years or so here. CPAC, the conservative movement's grown a lot. It's changed a lot. I remember back when we were first getting started, the early days with Andrew Breitbart. Yeah, but I mean, there was a time when we wouldn't be on the corner booth here broadcasting live. You know what I mean? Things have changed a lot. Things have changed a lot. What have you noticed about the last a decade or so here in the conservative movement? And by the way, there was a time when Barack Obama was the president. That's when I got started. That's when you got started. Now we've got a conservative Republican president, Donald Trump.
Right.
I mean, things have changed a lot. What are some of the big things you've noticed? And by the way, conservative institutions are getting stronger. Breitbart's stronger. Project Veritas stronger.
I think what's changed is people don't talk to each other as much. I mean, when we got started, like even with the NPR story that I broke, and you broke exclusively, credit to you. You got the Drudge banner, and it
was a huge deal.
And people like Ben Smith at BuzzFeed and Dave Weigel at I think it was Slate or whatever there would be conversations on Twitter. The blue check marks would engage. Nowadays, the world is so polarized and tribal that there's literally a Berlin Wall. They don't even with this recent story. What's changed is that the New York Times reporters, let's say O'Keefe's operating in bad faith. It's like, how dare you question my motives? They
don't even know you.
I don't operate in bad faith. I quoted the guy. I actually, you're doing precisely the thing that you project onto me. So 5-7 years ago, the world was different because they would not do that. They would actually talk to us. And I think now it's become so tribal, it's impossible to have a conversation. That's why I believe in the power of what Project Veritas does. We forge a sphere of consensus because we actually do show people in their own words. It does force a conversation.
Why do you think it is that they're behaving like that now? Is it because they're losing? Have they changed their behavior from? Because I agree with you. I think that it's become much more of a militaristic, tribalistic type mentality. But it's almost like they're headed into bunker mode because they know they're losing.
Bezos bought the Post, right? The Washington Post was bought by for example, was bought by Jeff Bezos. Dean Baquet became the executive editor of the New York Times, and they became so much about catering to their woke audience, and it's at the expense of truth. And
Dean Baquet doesn't like you very much.
Dean Baquet called me despicable.
Yeah,
and I've never said that about anybody. I don't characterize my so-called political enemies as whatever.
By the way, he covers up racists inside the New York Times. We've exposed a few of them.
Well, that may be true, but the issue is they serve their audience to such a degree that it becomes all about the woke clickbait aspects of what they do, and there's no integrity anymore. It's about serving, which is exactly what they claim you and I do, but they do it to a more severe degree, and they get away with it. That's what's changed, Matt, in the last 7 years.